In our overview and in-depth look of cards and gems for certain roles, we finally landed on carries. Everybody loves their carries, so it shouldn't be a surprise there are some pretty badass cards for them. In this video, we're taking a look at what gems and cards work really well for our carries, both in the laning phase and in general. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Paragon Guide. I am Sylphin. We're going to start off with the gems, and in the Vitality department, slot 1, we have Healing Towers. Well, hopefully you're not on towers too much, but if you are really worried about that sustain, Healing Towers gets you a tremendous amount. But for Vitality, you also have Quick Exit that will help get you places, get back into lane, and get back farming. Basically, you gain 214.9 movement speed for 4.9 seconds when leave base. It is noticeable what that does for you. You are probably more concerned about farming and being the carry, and you have two options in the Agility department. Auto Health Potion gives you a wee bit of health back, 4.9 for 9.2 seconds when you fall below 50% max health every 58.5 seconds. It's really not much, but it certainly obviously helps. But you could go all out and get improved killing blows. Gain 3.1 bonus gold when killing an enemy minion. Hey, that's what being a carry is all about. As for slot 7 Vitality cards, you have two options basically. You're going to go into Agility a ton, but by the time you get back to Vitality, because you've finished Agility, you have Armored. Gain shield after being out of combat for 11 seconds. This shield will just help not getting completely nuked down. But you can also take damage reduction. Reduce basic damage taken by 6.1%. So if you're kind of like a 1v1 carry sort of thing, or there's two carries on the enemy team and you've kind of accounted for that, damage reduction may be worth it. Now, Agility is where it's at for carries, so no surprise the gems are good as well. Ruthless deals an additional 2.1% basic damage to heroes for every 10% of enemy heroes missing health. So if they are missing 50% of their health, you gain 10% additional basic damage, and that is a ton. Basic damage, the base damage that you deal, is where all of your DPS comes from. It's a large portion of it, and that's a bigger deal than pre-version 42. So Ruthless, absolutely very good for securing kills. You also have Fast Travel though. Gain 24.6 move speed while out of combat. This will help kind of rotate, get into position a little bit faster. Probably not the one you want to take, as we also have Wealthy. Earn 3.1% increased gold. Hey, if you want to really scale into the late game, Wealthy, this is where it's at. Otherwise, Ruthless. Now, you're probably not going to get this far into Vitality, or at least until the extreme late game, but you do have Executioner's Rush. Gain movement speed and power for 3.7 seconds after killing an enemy hero. This can help you snowball and kind of take down people in a team fight. But you also have Shredding Strikes. Remove 1.2 basic armor for 3.7 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. So basically, that's about 9.6 basic armor. That's 9.6% less armor for them. So, hey, that is something to consider, especially as you're going to get a gem, so why not get something useful? But this tier is huge for Agility because we have multi-shot. Ranged basic attacks fire 2 additional projectiles, each dealing 80% basic damage. Kaboom! Absolutely monstrous for your ranged carries. I mean, why not? It increases your effective damage because maybe you may have missed without those 2 projectiles, but because the projectiles still hit, you still have effective damage dealt to the enemy team, whereas otherwise you may have missed. So multi-shot, absolutely fantastic. Almost a must-have on ranged carries if it wasn't for lifesteal. 6.1% lifesteal. You know, it's just enough to help you win a 1v1 or just sustain back in lane, so you can just kind of be topped up and you don't have to go back to base. Now, if you're maybe Revenant, you might have a reason to go for Mana Generator. Restore 4.3 mana when you land a basic attack. For that Obliterate, for the Scar, I doubt you would need it. It's just an option. Now, if you have extra gems to slot 19 here in Vitality, Ferocity is probably the one you want. Gain up to 44.1 attack speed based on your missing health. Basically, the more somebody attacks you, the more deadly you're going to be, hopefully making you able to finish off your target before they finish you. Now, this slot for agility, pretty badass. Empowered rounds, every 5th basic attack deals an additional 105 ability damage. I'm not so sure who you would want to use this for, simply because of the other gems. And let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. I honestly can't come to a clear conclusion about this gem, because the others are interesting. Duelists take 22.1% less damage from any hero you hit with a basic attack for the next 3.3 seconds. So Duelist here, if you are somebody like a split pushing Wukong and you know somebody is trying to come and deal with your split push, this makes a lot of sense. Or you are maybe a Serath or a melee, more melee carry that kind of jumps in the back line and duels it out with somebody. This may be really, really good. 22.1% less damage, 20% less damage. That is monstrous. We also have piercing basics though, and this is just strong. Basic attacks ignore 18.4% of an enemy's basic armor, meaning any tanks or anything or other carries that have a lot of basic armor on them from agility that they need to get. This is really, really strong. So I struggle with which to get. Empowered rounds, which I don't know if you would want it over Duelist or Piercing Basic. And slot 25 is just bonkers. Bounty Stalker basic attacks grant 1.2 attack speed and 0.9 power for 3.7 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. By the time you are slot 25 in agility, you are attacking a bonkers amount of time per second, so you will get these stacks very, very quickly. 9 power, 12 attack speed, that goes a long way. But you also have critical hits. Basic attacks have a 9.2% chance to deal 46% bonus damage. You know what? That's a solid amount of DPS. That is absolutely a solid amount of DPS. That's just really good. But there's also something even more bonkers: Relentless Pursuit. Basic attacks no longer apply a combat penalty, meaning you have no movement speed penalty for your basic attacks. As a melee carry especially, this is ridiculous. A Wukong, a Serath, a Yin, OMG. I have a tough time deciding which one do you want to be. This for Relentless Pursuit for more of a melee carry, I think. Critical hits for just consistent damage like a Sparrow or something. And then Bounty Stalker, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Now we're on to cards for carries. The first one here is Coin Master. It is an option if you want this on your carry. If you want to scale into late game, Coin Master gives you 8 bonus gold every 10 seconds. However, it increases to 16 while out of combat. If you can just last hit your minions and that's it, if you can be very patient and build up your minion wave to slow push, I think Coin Master will be phenomenal. But by far the easiest amount of increased damage here in the early game is Demolitionist. For 1 agility, you gain 12 bonus damage to non-hero units and structures. So minions and structures, you gain 12 bonus damage. Bonus damage is reduced to 8 though if it is ranged. Is a really easy source of damage, not to heroes, but at least to minions. While this card is order, it still works. Poised Aggressor, 1 agility, gain 15 basic damage for 4 seconds after entering combat. So if you're going to dive the enemy offlaner, you know, and you do your whole thing, that's going to help a lot. Also, if you want to quickly clear some ranged minions or clear the minion wave and push into the tower, this will work. It's order, it's a bit strange. Now the first card here, the first 3-point card that gives us actual damage stats is Sand Speeder. For 3 agility, you get 12 or 11 attack speed and increases your movement speed by 8%. Obviously, that's pretty darn good. But whenever you attack or are attacked, your move speed is reduced by 4% for 15 seconds. So essentially, you have 4% all the time, but then you gain 8%. You gain another 4 when out of combat, or at least as far as I understand it. That could go a long way. Now, if you want to continue some sick blink shot plays, Blitz Rush is blink shot here in version 42. 2 agility, 2 knowledge to gain 16 attack speed, and basically the blink shot active. Dash forward 1,000 units instead of 1,500 though, and of course hero kills reset this card's cooldown. This time though, it's on a 60-second cooldown all the time and costs only 50 mana. I think, to be honest with you, this is almost a must-have on any carry because you really don't want to die and you really want to secure kills and snowball. Now, I'm showing this card only to highlight its importance. It's only a 5-cost card, but you get 16 power. Remember, that goes a long way in version 42, plus you gain 22 basic armor penetration. Very, very key card, as it's one of the first cards that really gives you a damage boost. Pressure Hunter would be a unique card for carries and would still be a good transition card regardless. 7 agility to gain 10 power and 13 kinetic attack speed, that's good, but gain the Giant Slayer passive. Deal 2 bonus damage to targets with more vitality than you. Amount is increased by vitality difference. So if they have 15 more vitality equipped on their hero, that means that you deal 30 bonus damage to that target. Because again, base damage is where DPS is from, and attack speed is where DPS is from. That bonus damage is tremendous. A absolutely bread and butter card for any carry, any basic attack carry or assassin is heavy hitter, 100%. 8 agility to gain 16 power, 16 kinetic, and powerful strikes. Basic damage is increased by 15%. What freaking more would you want on your carry or basic damage assassin? That's it. Hey, this is a fantastic card that just straight up increases your damage. Call of the Week is a fantastic card for the early game as it really helps you out. Call of the Week, 1 agility, and it gives you the execute minions. Basic attacks execute enemy minions below 20% max health. If you really struggle with last hits, then this card is going to be great for you. If you don't though, and if you can really focus on getting those last hits regardless of this card, it may be a card you can get away without. Another early game economy card here is Highwayman. Whenever you deal damage to a hero, gain 75 gold. Every 15 seconds, you may be able to kind of go up, attack the offlaner, and boom, there you go. There is 75 extra gold. If you can get away with it or not, I don't know, but it is an option. Another early game card here that has a great source of power is Profiteer. For 2,400 gold, it's a fair amount. Gain 4 power. Really one of the only cheap cards that gives you power to gain wealthy minions. Earn 55 bonus gold for enemy minion kills, adding to your farm. However, it is combustible, meaning that if you die, you unequip this card and you lose that 2,400 gold. That is a big deal, but again, if you can get away with it, it'll pay off. Nitro Boost here, a key card for carries, so I think it's better than you think. 3 agility to gain 11 attack speed and 125 move speed for 3 seconds every 12 seconds for 0 mana cost. Basically, it's a get out of jail free, almost, card that you can use every 12 seconds. This will really help you keep your combustible cards if you're going high into chaos on your carry, and just keep you safe and even maybe secure some kills. Power Tap has absolute insane potential on any damage dealer. For 4,000 gold, you can consume this card an infinite amount of times to permanently increase your power by 15. If you can get away with knowledge on your carry, you know what? This goes a long way. In the late game, when you're done with your vitality, or with your agility, and you have enough vitality, or do you just want more power? There you go. Power tap. Increase your power by 15 for every 4,000 gold. Now, if you wondered where Hemorrhage went, Overclocked Droid is it. 4 agility, 2 vitality, 7 power, and 13 attack speed to gain Frenzy. Gain 32 attack speed and 150 movement speed for 6 seconds. You do take 15% additional damage, though, while this effect is active. Melee heroes are more likely to get damage, so melee carries, you gotta be more careful, but ranged carries probably can get away with this most of the time. Now this card I'm only mentioning because of Wukong. Flag Bearer, 7 agility to gain 29 attack speed and 2 passives. Nearby friendly minions gain 150 max health and 40 move speed to push the lane faster and keep them healthy, but also gain 25 basic damage when near an allied minion. That feeds into Wukong tremendously well. His clones tremendously well. The attack speed's fantastic, exactly what he needs. What a perfect card for Wukong. Now, if you feel risky, here's the card for you. Hellfire Engine, 7,000 gold for a combustible card that will unequipped, and you will lose that gold when you die. But you gain 100 freaking basic damage, man. Unbelievable. So, if you want to save a slot, use one of your 3 cards as Hellfire Engine for the late game, because you really don't want to lose that when you're still getting your deck done. This is the card. I mean, whether you want to have this take up a slot like for your endgame deck, it's up to you, but you know what? That 100 basic damage is something you absolutely have to consider as a carry. Swift Hunter may be a good transition card, and maybe better than you might think of at first. 7 agility to gain 10 power, 15 attack speed, good stats, but gain 125 move speed for 10 whole seconds after killing an enemy unit. So maybe you are a Serath or a Wukong in the offlane and you kill the last of a minion wave and you want to rotate, boom, there is 125 move speed for 10 seconds after killing an enemy unit. It really, and a unit, by the way, is hero and minion. So even if you are going to a team fight or something, you can maybe just last hit a minion, just one swipe at a minion nearby, and boom, there's 125 move speed for the whole engagement. Likely, anyways. Good card, and probably is better than you think. Now, normally I would recommend Sacred Alchemy to bruisers, 100%, but maybe you want this on your melee carry. 18 power, 20 attack speed, great stats, and 240 health, but you gain a shield equal to 20% of your basic damage dealt. The more you attack, the more shield you get for some tremendous potential. Wukong, he can easily take out anybody who comes to oppose him with this card. Serath can dive that backline, dive the enemy carry to take them out, especially with that duelist gem, and gain shield so she can just duel somebody. Really a lot of potential with Sacred Alchemy. Trapper would be another one of those cards. Situational if you can utilize this passive. 8 agility, 4 vitality to gain 15 power, 32 attack speed, good stats, and basic attacks reduce enemy move speed by 10 for 5 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. At max stacks, though, you root your target for 1 second. That root basically means they're just completely obliterated. Trapper, hey, if you want to use it on your Wukong, that would be really good on him, by the way. It could work. Here is a card you have to consider on your carry, and that's Deathcrawler. 13 agility, so you can't have very other agility heavy cards with this card equipped to gain 28 power and 24 basic armor. Mighty Strikes is the passive. Attack speed is reduced by 65. Every 8 seconds, though, your basic attack deals triple damage. Isn't that insane? So automatically I think on a Kalari this is fantastic. But as for the carries, Who doesn't need attack speed? Revenant. He doesn't care about attack speed pretty much at all, besides his reload, which is negligible in my opinion. He basically, therefore, can get every 8 seconds, 300% bonus damage. And you know what? Opening up on a squishy target, opening up on a high priority target, this can really help burst them down. Other heroes, maybe somebody like a Twin Blast, who, you know, you can throw at your grenades and is still very naturally bursty. Maybe Deathcrawler would be great for him as well. Knight of Asher here is one of those cards you can't have with these other high cost agility cards because they go over the maximum of 25 agility points. Knight of Asher, 13 agility, 19 power, and 14 attack speed, and 24 basic armor. That might not sound like the most stats, but that's because the stats come from the passive. You gain 25 basic damage again, which is basically 25 power. However, you also increase basic damage by 1.5 per attribute point purchased, meaning if you have 25 agility, that is 37.5 additional basic damage, plus the 25 is 50, 60, whatever basic damage, plus the 19 power. Insane amount of damage from this card. I think this may be the highest damage, basic damage card in the game through Knight of Asher. This on a Serath, who can definitely use that armor to dive into the backline, a Wukong to make him just unstoppable to kill. Like, his clones just eat through that power so quickly. Knight of Asher, absolutely something you have to consider on your carry. Now, hear me out on this card before you make judgment. One of the tribe, 10 agility, 3 vitality, giving you 22 power, and 420 health. What? On a carry? Hear me out. Group power, gain 15 power for each nearby allied hero. If you are in a competitive scene, or if you're just seeing that, you know, you have a very team fight oriented, grouping up death ball-y sort of team, and you pick this deck with this card in it, I think the potential is tremendous. If you have 4 allied heroes around you, that is 60. I repeat, 60 power on top of the 22 you already have, making it 82 power, 82 additional damage you get on your carry. On a Serath who can use that power through her abilities as well. Twin Blast on his grenades, Revenant on his abilities. Oh my goodness. Don't discredit it. It sounds crazy, but you know what? If you can pull it off, oh boy. And Shatter Golem. Basically, literally a must-have. Absolutely 100%. Don't not get this card on your carry. Shatter Golem, 13 agility, 26 freaking power, 18 kinetic. Critical strikes, basic attacks have a 20% damage, 20% chance to deal 100% bonus damage, basically meaning you're dealing 20% additional damage at all times, if you average it out. Insane. Yep, if you are a carry, if you care about your basic attacks, Shatter Golem, man, this is it. On a Sparrow, this is absolutely terrifying. Any carry, really. On a Serath, on a Yin, this is absolutely terrifying. You can cleave through the entire enemy team. Shatter Golem, you just gotta have it. Empiric Blade is the only source of lifesteal outside of that measly 6% in that gem. So, Empiric Blade might be a crucial card for a lot of carry decks. Let's just be honest here. Empiric Blade, 9 agility, 4 vitality, 15 power, 20 attack speed, and 240 health. Overflowing Feast is the active, which gains 150% lifesteal for 3 seconds on a 75-second cooldown, 100 mana, and you get a passive 10% lifesteal. So, for 3 seconds, you can dive into the entire enemy team, like, for real, like, and have 160% lifesteal. So if you deal 800 DPS, you gain 1200, 1300 health back per second through this card for 3 seconds. Unfreaking believable. Empiric Blade, if you really want that lifesteal, if you want to be that bruisery sort of carry that can heal back, that can really win a 1v1 or just survive a team fight, Empiric Blade might be a must-have. And guys, that's it for carries. Carries are in a really good spot. I love the diversity of their cards. It's not all about crit. There's some situational cards in there. There's tons of affinities. Like, yeah, there's a lot in chaos and in death, but there's some really good order ones as well. Some really good growth ones as well, depending on your playstyle, depending on who you want to play, how you want to play them, with who you want to play, against who. It's all up in the air. I mean, you can have great early game economy cards, but you have some really good early game damage cards if you want to play that sort of game. It's really, really good. Carries in a really good spot as we see more and more carries, and we don't even have a true ability carry in the sense where they use abilities really frequently and they deal a high amount of damage and they really scale off of money. And it's just exciting that there's so many options that I've probably missed. So please let me know down in the comments if you guys see any strict carry cards or carry cards that can really help carries in general. Let me know down in the comments, as I would love to learn from you, and I would love for other people to learn from you as well.